Are you looking for better shooting experience? How about a facility where you can shoot all of your firearms in the same day, where you can move and shoot steel, draw from the holster, and practice your rifle work out to 600 yards? Shoot a very challenging sporting clays course or a round of trap or skeet. You can do all that and much more at the Aurora Sportsman's Club. Hi, I'm David Lombardo, president of the Aurora Sportsman's Club. If you love the outdoors, you'll want to know all about Northern Illinois' largest outdoor shooting facility, the Aurora Sportsman's Club. If you're a novice looking for a basic course, an experienced shooter looking for an advanced course, or perhaps you want to participate in your favorite shooting event, or just spend an enjoyable day with a family, the Aurora Sportsman's Club is the only shooting facility in the region that offers all that and more. Interested? Then you won't want to miss the next orientation and tour of the Aurora Sportsman's Club. Call, email, or visit our website today to find out how you can become part of a better shooting experience at the Aurora Sportsman's Club in Waterman, Illinois.
He is the human Molotov cocktail that they can legally throw into the system that stole their lives from them.
So we're going to create a new government that serves you, your family, and your country.
It's time for On Target Radio, Chicagoland's only radio show dedicated to the red meat issues that affect your life, from gun control to freedom of speech. Now, debating, debunking, and discussing today's hot issues, here are your hosts, David Lombardo and Gretchen Fritz.
Welcome to On Target Radio. Tonight, David's rant of the week is Diogenes cancels Chicago visit, and David and Gretchen will be talking about how Second Amendment issues are tied into the media and congressional Republicans' failure to kill Obamacare. Then they will be looking at sanctuary schools. Should they be prosecuted for sedition? And finally, we'll look at how T-Rex, Secretary of State Tillerson, outraged the press by not accepting their self-appointed VIP status. All that and more on tonight's On Target Radio. So give us a call at 815-205-1584. That's 815-205-1584. Or go to Facebook, like our page On Target Radio, and ask a question or make a comment there.
Today's Rant of the Week and more of David's work can be found at bearingarms.com. And now, from the seething cauldron of personal opinion, it's David's Rant of the Week.
Apparently, Diogenes has canceled his Chicago visit. You can hardly blame the man. If you've been wandering the earth for over 2,300 years, shining a lantern in men's faces, unsuccessfully searching for an honest man, you'd start hedging your bets too. If you couldn't find one in 300 BC Athens, what are the odds of 21st century Chicago? Well, it would depend upon whom you ask. Chicago aldermen apparently believe Chicagoans are an honest lot, including those that are felons, if a recent article in DNA Info is to be believed. About 4 years ago, the city fathers came up with the idea of an internet database that warns John Q. Public when a registered gun offender moves into their neighborhood. I thought there already was one. It's called Facebook, and they're the ones with all the bling holding G-locks and flashing gang signs. The web allows John Q. to search the database of registered gun offenders. You type in your address, enter the distance you want covered, and the results are depicted in maps, graphs, and tables of offender names. The Chicago PD updates the database daily, which is very assuring. However, it does caution that offenders may have moved and failed to notify the Chicago Police Department as required by ordinance, which is not very reassuring. I dug a bit deeper and came up with an interesting tidbit of information. According to the website, Chicago PD's list of gun offenders is predicated upon gun offenders telling Chicago PD where they are. Let's be very clear about this. Felons who are also convicted of criminal gun charges are required to voluntarily register with the city of Chicago. What that means is the city of Chicago has no idea who they are and are relying on convicted felons that use guns to voluntarily identify themselves to the city of Chicago so everyone can look them up and see where they live. What could possibly go wrong with that idea? According to the DNA Info article, Alderman Ed Burke, who originally authored the ordinance requiring the database, was shocked to discover that the entire registry contained only 1,942 people for the entire past 4 years. This in a community that last year saw 4,368 shooting victims. Then there's this pithy insight on the part of Alderman Burke. It defies logic to think that there are less than 2,000 convicted gun offenders in the city of Chicago, he said. There's a glitch in the system somewhere. Well, duh, you think? Alderman Harry Osterman, not to be overshadowed by Burke's wisdom, weighed in with, I have to believe there are more of these gun offenders who are living in Chicago unregistered. Of all the inane comments uttered by the city fathers, the first place blue ribbon goes to Alderman Ray Lopez, who represents the gang-ridden Brighton Park and back-of-the-yards neighborhoods. It was in his ward that last summer a gunman opened fire at a block party and shot a 6-year-old child. If that block party had been aware of that gentleman was on probation with a weapons charge, people would have been more apt to be cognizant of the kinds of individuals that were gravitating towards that individual, and that little 6-year-old might not have been shot, Lopez said. So, in Lopez's reality, John Q., living with the sounds of gunshots nightly, living with gang members in their own family, next door and across the street, needs a registry to be careful about living in the hood. These are Chicago city fathers, the ruling elite that control every aspect of John Q's life, from parking a car after a snowfall to the shopping bags he gets at the grocery store. The only thing they don't control is the violent crime destroying the city from within. They point fingers at everyone and everything in view except themselves, and certainly not at their constituents, because that would cost them votes. So they lie about guns and dream up schemes to take them away from John Q. while doing nothing about bad guys having them. It occurs to me that Diogenes didn't skip Chicago because he assumed everyone lies. He skipped it because he didn't want to get shot. And that, Gretchen, is my rant for the week.
His search would be quickly over if he went to Ray Lopez's neighborhood.
It would be one way or the other. He would either discover instantly that everybody lies, or he would not be around to discover anything again.
Right.
And after, 2,300 years, it'd be a shame to grease him on the south side of Chicago.
Right, exactly.
Yeah. He must have a good doctor. You know what I'm thinking? I don't know who supports him. How does that work? I don't know. Interesting thing happened not too long ago with Wayne LaPierre, the NRA executive director. Give us a call, 815-205-1584. For the first time, I think, in history, this president called a summit. They wanted to talk about how to get Gorsuch into the Supreme Court, which, of course, we all would like to do. And Wayne LaPierre of the NRA sat next to the president in that meeting. I don't think, let's see, did Obama invite him? I can't remember.
No.
No, did not. No. But just think about that when the President of the United States has the head of the NRA sitting next to him in a big conference meeting in the White House. That's a different environment.
Yes.
Totally.
Which LaPierre acknowledged.
Yeah, definitely did. He said, and here's the interesting thing, which is unfortunate. He said, I came away from that meeting feeling very much as you do, that with the presidency and majorities in both houses of Congress, we'll be working in a much less hostile political world. And he says, it's not to be. The way things have been going lately is really out of control, and he really points at the press. He makes a comment: never before have we seen a change in administration that has been met with such widespread organized hatred, and that hatred is amplified by national media that has thrown out the rules of journalism has become a part of the mob. We talk about this all the time.
Right, and my comment that I wrote to myself was not capital M mob, but mob like mob rule.
Yeah.
That they're joining in with rioters in the streets, basically, and supporting that cause.
Somebody, I think it was it might have to be on Facebook. I was in a you should never get a discussion on Facebook.
No.
It's three eyes, It's inconclusive, interminable, and in vain. But I got suckered into one, and And I love, the liberal mentality is a beautiful thing. It should be studied probably by criminal psychologists. But he goes, those mobs have nothing to do with us. I go, seriously? Wait, let's see.
They're carrying signs that say "Not my president."
Yeah, I said, I'll tell you what I'll do. I will give you $50 for every conservative you can pull out of one of those mobs. If you give me 50 cents for every liberal I can pull out of there. He goes, well, we have nothing to do with that. Yeah, we have nothing to do with that at all. Their logic is a wonderful thing.
Well, they just don't use any.
Well, I hate to get bogged down in detail, but yeah.
I've said this before, but it was really priceless. I was arguing with somebody on Facebook, and, speaking of logic, I was saying I was cautiously optimistic about Trump, and he goes, that's not really the guy you want to wait and see with, how's your Russian? And I go, my guy's not the guy that got caught on a hot mic telling a Russian official, a high-level Russian official, I don't think it was Putin, telling a high-level Russian official, I'll have more flexibility after the election. And the liberal I was arguing with had to go, he goes, I thought you were going to be reasonable. I'm like,
well, yes, well, facts. You don't want to mess them up.
It's completely reasonable, and it uses logic, which they can't stand either one of those things.
You know what they always say? If you want to tick off a conservative, lie to them. If you want to tick off a liberal, tell them the truth. Yeah, I mean, it works every time.
It couldn't be more true.
The big thing, and actually, Monica Crowley. You remember Monica Crowley? She used to be on Fox.
I didn't, but I watched the video and actually reposted it as well. So yeah,
it was a clear hit job. I mean,
really,
they clearly hit her. When we come back, we're going to talk a little bit more about that because I think that's a big thing. It's the difference between dissenting with an election and really trying to overthrow the government. So we're going to be back with that and more. Give us a call, 815-205-1584, and we'll be back after a few messages with more on Target Radio.
For over 100 years, the Illinois State Rifle Association has supported the rights and freedoms of Illinois citizens to keep and bear arms. For over 100 years, the ISRA has supported the use of firearms as a sport for personal protection and as a fundamental aspect of national defense. For over 100 years, the Illinois State Rifle Association has been supporting you. Don't you think it's time you supported them? ISRA.org or 815-635-3198. The Illinois State Rifle Association, supporting you.
Safer USA, Chicago's most trusted name in firearm training, is offering beginners classes, tactical pistol and rifle, long-range rifle to 600 yards, and the most comprehensive Illinois concealed carry program available. The On Target Radio co-hosts David Lombardo and Gretchen Fritz will prepare you to carry a firearm for personal protection, including firearm, holster, and ammunition selection. A comprehensive law review designed to keep you out of trouble and even how to deal with home invasions. Firearm, ammunition, holster, class notebook, and lunch are provided. Safer USA and the Aurora Sportsman's Club invite you to participate in this one-of-a-kind Illinois concealed carry program that also qualifies you for Florida, Utah, and Arizona non-resident permits. Find out what over 6,000 students already know at saferusa.com.
Or call 815-741-3474. That's 815-741-3474. Safer USA. Choosing to own a firearm is your business. Teaching you to own it responsibly is ours.
Do you dread writing? Is it challenging to find just the right words to get your point across? Do you put off developing marketing materials because you just don't know where to start? You get one chance to make a first impression, and my editor, Creative Business Services, can help make it a strong, positive one. Hi, this is Gretchen Fritz, co-host of On Target Radio, and I'd like to tell you about My Editor, a business I started to help you overcome those concerns. What you're experiencing is very common. My Editor has helped business owners, candidates for political office, and even authors and public speakers. At My Editor Creative Business Services, we can simply edit your existing work or help you develop an entire writing plan of action from initial project design through final copy. We are easy to work with and will help you get your point across in the most effective manner. If words escape you, send me an email at myeditor@mail.com. Use My Editor Creative Business Services and go to print with confidence. That's My Editor at mail.com or find us on Facebook.
You're listening to On Target Radio with David Lombardo and Gretchen Fritz. Here's David and Gretchen with more interesting conversation on gun control, concealed carry, freedom of speech, and other red meat issues that affect your life.
This segment is brought to you by the Will County Grassroots Division of the Illinois State Rifle Association. Join like-minded friends supporting the right to keep and bear arms in Illinois at 7 p.m. on the third Wednesday of the month at the Silver Dollar Restaurant in Elwood, Illinois.
You know, we were talking the other day. I was talking to Doug Mayhall. More now than probably ever, people need to be part of the ISRA. People think, oh, we got concealed carry, we got a president now, we got the.
It's not the be all and end all.
No, they're still trying to pull the rug out from under us any way they can, and in Illinois they can do it.
Well, and we're dealing with such problems. This happened in the last session of the General Assembly, I think, where people like Mark Kelly are coming in from other states and, you know, encouraging our lawmakers, albeit Democrats, to, you know, to push gun control legislation. And, you know, so it's not only enemies within, it's enemies without as well.
Absolutely. Illinois is it's a state they look at, they think they can control. Mm-hmm. And to a certain degree they can. I mean, Madigan's on their side. Yeah. If it weren't for the southern contingency of Democrats, we would have nothing.
Right.
Really would have nothing. So it's the ISRA that's got they got four lobbyists, 5 lobbyists down there now. Mm-hmm. You got to support them. Anyway.
And they work their butts off.
They do. And they're very good at what they do. They are. They're very good.
Yep.
We got them down there. We got Todd Vandermeid's down there, who is very good.
NRA.
Todd. Yeah, he's the NRA's guy. He's pretty good at cutting people up down there.
Oh, I'm sure.
It's kind of fun to watch. Well, you know Todd.
I've met him.
He's naturally good at doing that.
I've met him. Yeah.
Yeah. But anyway, one of the things about this election is it's not simply when Obama got elected. Republicans hated the guy, and we made no bones about it, certainly.
Right.
And, you know, I mean, we tried to do as much damage control as possible. But, I mean, these people, and Monica Crowley makes an interesting statement. She used to be with Fox, and she got falsely painted as plagiarizing. She's a journalist. She got falsely painted as plagiarizing, but by the time it got settled out, she was gone. You know, she was out. And now in retrospect, they look back and they go, no, it's not. It's, you know, one was a dissertation. It's like 11 years old or 7 years old, something like that. Another one was a piece that she did. And she, as we do, it's aggregate journalism. You know, you go out and you look for stuff and you weave it into a story. And they said that she was plagiarizing, and it basically, they've looked at it and they go, man, you know,
she was rewriting it.
Yeah.
Which is allowed. Yeah.
But the interesting thing is the Democrats just vilifying this president's not enough. They actually want him to go to jail. They want him removed. They want him.
Oh yeah, they want to impeach him.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And Monica Crowley says, "Let me tell you something. These people they're playing hardball. They're out there. They just make stuff up. They just do anything they can, you know, to do it, and they won't be happy until they do that." The Gorsuch thing, I think, is very interesting because I don't know if you had a chance to watch any of the stuff on TV. He's very, very good.
Yes, everything I've heard.
They tried to pin his ears back, and he just wouldn't be pinned. He just wouldn't be. And you know, I love Trey Gowdy, but Trey's kind of you know, more in your face in a sort of Southern gentlemanly way. Yeah. Which is, you have to see it to understand
It's like slapping somebody with your gloves. Yeah. That's what Trey Gowdy does.
Yeah. Gorsuch is actually a pretty quiet guy.
Yeah, he's very retiring.
Yeah.
He's actually very retiring.
And they would throw stuff out at him. I really enjoyed watching Nancy Pelosi trying to, you know, just skewer him because she just got destroyed. You know, basically she was saying, well, you know, how does this apply to the Second Amendment? How does it apply to that? And he goes, it applies to the Constitution of the United States. He says, it does. She goes, well, what's your opinion of this? She goes, it doesn't matter what my opinion is. I am paid to interpret the Constitution, period. Here's the case, how does it fit?
Right, and I think I heard him say, I can't predict how I'm going to rule in any particular case.
Which is what they're trying to make
it
do.
depends on the details of, the merits and the details of that particular case.
Exactly. And he was just unflappable. Now, the really interesting thing about Gorsuch, because the Democrats and Schumer, that moron, Schumer, it's like drawing a line and saying, well, we're just going to filibuster, we're not going to have this and that and that. But you know what? Look at what the media, the liberal media is saying.
Yeah.
Wolf Blitzer, of all people, the anchor at CNN, says, I think he did a great job this morning. I think the Democrats have done a pretty poor job. But I think the reason they've done a poor job is there's not a lot to beat this man upon. That's Wolf Blitzer.
Yeah.
John King, who's also liberal, the Democrats have not even blemished anything to this judge so far. Mm-hmm. And Andrea Mitchell, who we all know about Andrea Mitchell, I think that this has been a slam dunk. Even the liberal press is going, you know what, he's a real thing.
They have to admit it.
Yeah. I find that very interesting. Now, how that's going to affect them. And the other thing is, how long can are they still filibustering? I guess they are.
I don't know.
I've been busy the past.
I don't know if that's what you call it.
Well, that's what they call it.
Filibustering is...
They're preventing a vote.
Is talking, but they're still, interviewing him. They're still...
Oh, I think the interviewing's over.
Oh,
yeah, it's over.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah, it's up for... Well, it's supposed to be up for a vote.
Oh, okay.
At some point, if you are filibustering, and if there is a point you reach where the public, even your own public, go,
just do it.
Yeah, don't you have anything better to do in the Congress than this? So I don't know how long they think they can do this. Schumer is truly a jerk. I am just, I'm really kind of shocked at how bad he is, and some of the things that he has said, just blatant, outright nonsense. And we'll talk about some more of that coming up. The other thing that was kind of interesting is they dragged out Joe Biden. Did you see that?
No.
Yeah, they dragged out Joe Biden. They're just ecstatic over the fact that Obamacare, the vote, it didn't even come to a vote. They didn't even bring it to a vote. They're ecstatic about that. So we're going to talk about that in the next segment for sure. But here's an interesting little factoid that if you're Christian, you're crap, right? Mm-hmm. And yet, did you read this little bit about Christians in Congress?
Yeah.
I mean, I knew there were a lot of Christians in Congress, but the 115th Congress, the vast majority, 91%, call themselves Christians. Now, that obviously crosses the aisle. You can't have 91% without it being Democrats, compared with 71% of U.S. adults who say the same thing. 91%, more than half of the states, 28, have delegations that are composed entirely of Christians. So here's the exception, non-Christian. Ready? Overall, Congress has 30 Jewish members. Okay, that's not Christian, but they pretty much usually think that way, in terms of the law.
Right, yeah. 3
Hindus, 3 Buddhists, 1 Unitarian Universalist, and 1 religiously unaffiliated member. This sounds like they walk into a bar joke. You know what I'm saying? There are also 10 members of Congress who declined to specify a religious affiliation, and they're not counted as Christian or non-Christian. Only 1 state has no Christian in the congressional delegation, Hawaii. 2 Buddhists, 1 Hindu, and a Jew. That is a joke. That's got to be a joke.
Yeah.
Going into a bar.
In Hawaii, 2 Buddhists, 1 Hindu, and 1 Jew walk into a bar. Now, I'm sorry, but if the 10 people who declined to specify religious affiliation, not Christian. Okay, just
I would think so.
As as the person who previously on Facebook vilified Nancy Pelosi and said she doesn't get to speak for evangelicals, I am and I do, and they're not.
You heard it here first. Here it is. The thing is, Durbin, I know, said he's Christian. He hasn't done anything.
He's probably a backslidden Catholic like Pelosi.
Could well be.
Was
Pelosi a Catholic?
Oh yeah. Which is what I said in my Facebook post.
That explains a lot, doesn't it? Yeah. Durbin has done nothing that I would equate to being Christian. I mean, nothing. I mean, I just I don't know.
Well, I don't know that being a meat puppet is inherently Christian or non-Christian, but yeah, I mean, the people that he lets pull his strings,
they don't care.
Not Christian.
Yeah, they don't care. They give a rat's butt.
Yeah.
Sometimes they want Soros is probably pagan.
Oh, clearly, yeah.
Or worse.
I was going to say, I think he's actually a devil worshiper.
He could well be. He looks like one anyway.
Right.
Yeah.
No, I think he literally is.
Actually, I think he's only 22 years old. But
that deal didn't work out.
No, the painting, the portrait in the attic didn't.
Right. It's getting younger.
Fix, yeah. That'll send people to Google, won't it?
Maybe. I'm not sure we gave him enough to go by.
Portrait in attic aging. Gotta go look that one up. Yeah.
Maybe. Maybe that's enough.
Did you ever see that movie?
No, I'm familiar with the book. But
It's actually pretty good.
I'm not sure if I don't think I even read the whole book. I'm familiar with it.
It's one of those. It's one of those books that, like any Ayn Rand book, right? Like Fountainhead, and particularly Atlas Shrugged. Everybody owns it.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty much nobody
Nobody's
reads it.
actually read it.
Yeah, but it's prominently just. I have that book.
I use it as a doorstop.
And it probably would stop a vault in a bank.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a big book.
So speaking of books that people reference all the time, but so I tried to read Lady Chatterley's Lover.
That's a surprise
because it's like referenced in pop culture, all like
pretty
magazine
tame
articles
by today's
and stuff.
standards.
Oh
so,
yeah, absolutely.
It was really hot in its time.
I'm sure. But so I get like a third, maybe halfway into I hate this book. I don't like it
it's
at
not a good
all.
book. No.
It's not. No. It's not a good book. And probably the only reason that it's referenced is, as you're saying, at the time it was hot stuff.
At the time it was.
And so I was in college, but I was reading it for my own by my own choice, not for an assignment. And I had it in the kitchen of my dormitory. I was making something on the weekend to eat, and I forgot it. I left it in the kitchen by accident, and I went upstairs and I ate my food, and then I came back the next day or whatever. I came back looking for it, and it was gone, and I was like, thank God.
It's a message from heaven.
I was so happy somebody stole that book.
I tried to read it, but it walked away on its own.
That's right.
Yeah.
That was manna from heaven as far as I was concerned.
It is. There's certain books that people who are book people feel they have to have on their shelf. Mm-hmm. I have complete works of Shakespeare. I hate Shakespeare. I just, every time I pick up Shakespeare, and I've tried, it's just, no.
It's kind of fun sometimes.
Yeah, no, it's not. All right, we're going to come back. When we come back, we're going to talk a little more about rhino care. We'll get on that thing. And we're going to also talk about sanctuary schools. All that and more when we return with more on Target Radio.
Hi, I'm David Lombardo, co-host of On Target Radio, and I'd like to offer you a partnership opportunity. For over 4 years, On Target Radio covered the red meat issues that affect your life, from gun control to freedom of speech on AM 560 The Answer. But a 1-minute commercial was $200, making it tough to find enough sponsors. So last November, we left AM 560 and began podcasting. There's a learning curve to podcasting, and we've worked through the kinks and would now like to make you an offer. You can have a 60-second audio or video commercial for as little as $25 a week. We can also offer fellow conservatives their own radio or video podcast for as little as $100 a week, with equipment and technical personnel included. You provide the content and host, plus get 6 free minutes of commercial time you can sell yourself. If you'd like to be an On Target Radio sponsor or explore the possibility of having your own show, call me at 815-741-3474, and let's explore the possibilities together.
For over 100 years, the Illinois State Rifle Association has supported the rights and freedoms of Illinois citizens to keep and bear arms. For over 100 years, the ISRA has supported the use of firearms as a sport for personal protection and as a fundamental aspect of national defense. For over 100 years, the Illinois State Rifle Association has been supporting you. Don't you think it's time you supported them? ISRA.org or 815-635-3198. The Illinois State Rifle Association, supporting you.
You're listening to On Target Radio with David Lombardo and Gretchen Fritz. Here's David and Gretchen with more interesting conversation on gun control, concealed carry, freedom of speech, and other red meat issues that affect your life.
So the really interesting thing about the Obamacare is he couldn't get enough votes. It never even came to the vote. He just
because they knew they didn't have the votes.
Yeah. Now, what I find particularly of interest is the Democrats are all ecstatic about this. They think it's the greatest thing that's ever happened.
Sure.
What they're not grasping is the reason they didn't get the votes is because it wasn't gutted enough.
Right.
This is the best that we're ever going to see.
It was like Obamacare light.
Exactly. This version is the best they're ever going to see. They don't quite wrap their brain around that.
I'm not sure they're in tune with that whole concept. But yeah, I have a friend on Facebook. I mean, I know her in real life too. And she is, I think she has like a Vulcan mind meld with Donald Trump. And she literally, like, she says it on Facebook, and then like a day or two later, like he literally either says the same thing or something happens that she predicted was going to happen. So if she says something about what Trump is doing and what we can expect, I tend to believe her. And, you know, basically it's the art of the deal is what he's doing. He's, you know, he pushed that and he acted like he was gung-ho 100% for it. He really wasn't. He really didn't care. Because, like you're saying, he knew the Freedom Caucus probably wasn't going to be on board, and he actually wanted like an even better version, a better bill, but he wanted Ryan to fail initially. So, and this is me talking, I think he wanted Ryan to fail initially so that Ryan would give up more points, more stuff in another bill to appease the Freedom Caucus. And then once we get the Freedom Caucus, that's like another 20 or 30 votes, and then it'll pass.
Did you see that someone overheard Ryan? What he did is he left Congress, ducked his security detail, drove to a house, and the person that overheard him followed him. It was a house of one of Obama's operatives, and he was in there for an hour. Came back out smiling. It was on the internet, so what could possibly be wrong?
It must be true then.
But as we know...
But it wasn't on CNN, because we know that's fake.
I have to process how that would work. I got to think, if it's false, but it's on CNN, which makes it true, because they're false.
That's the only exception to everything on the internet is true, is the CNN website, which everything is fake.
But if they say something is fake, then that makes it true.
Yes, that would negate the fakeness.
I can see how your head could blow up trying to follow this stuff. You know what I'm saying? Anyway,
I'm telling you, I wanted to have a segment called Liberal Head Explosion, and you said no.
Yeah, you did. A long time ago you've been saying
you said you said I couldn't do it every
No,
week, and
no.
I said yeah, I could.
I said you could do it. You just got to come up with them. GOA, Gun Owners of America, really did not like. They're calling it Rhino Care, which I thought was pretty funny. But the reason why, what it didn't do is take out the stuff about guns.
Right.
About how, you know, the doctors are supposed to ask and all that kind of. It didn't take any of that out.
Right. Gun Owners of America are taking exception with that.
Exactly. And so that was their big thing. I don't know. It'll be interesting to see what happens. But what they're saying is it needs three things. GOA is saying this. It needs to, relative to the Second Amendment, because that's what they're hanging their hat on. It needs to be amended to prohibit ATF from trolling the National Health Database or Medicaid or any entitlement program looking for persons with PTSD, Alzheimer, and all that kind of stuff. It needs to be amended to prohibit insurance companies from asking about gun ownership. Some companies ask you, do you own firearms? And then they change your rate.
Sure.
And it needs to be amended to ensure that doctors not only are not required, but are not allowed to ask you. Now, none of my
document
doctors,
that. Yeah,
none of my doctors have ever done that. Although my last visit to my doctor, there was a questionnaire risk assessment. But he said, you don't have to fill this out.
Oh.
But I just,
that's good.
It sort of took me by surprise. So that's what they're really holding out for. Schumer, this quote from Schumer, this is the senator. He says, in my life, I have never seen an administration as incompetent as the one occupying the White House today. He says, today we've learned we can't count votes and they can't close a deal. So much for the art of the deal. You know, remember when Maddow had that smirk wiped off her face?
Yeah.
I'm waiting to see this with Schumer.
Yeah.
I want to see that.
That's going to be good.
Yeah, I want to see him get slapped down.
It's going to be good. Yeah, he, anyway, go ahead.
No, you got...
No.
Oh, well, there we go. So you got to give credit where credit's due. Trump came out after that vote, and he said, this was an interesting period of time. We all learned a lot. He said, we learned a lot about loyalty, and we learned a lot about the vote-getting process, and we learned about the very arcane rules in both the Senate and the House. He said, certainly for me, it was a very interesting experience. But for me, it'll be an experience that leads to an even better health care plan. Which is kind of what you said.
Like I said.
Yeah. So I don't
Which
know.
actually, I'll go ahead and say her name. Her name is Tara Lee Grigas. She's the one I was telling you about. She's from Oklahoma.
Oh, yeah.
And she, I don't know, she seems to know what is in Trump's mind. So,
well,
if you want to know what's going to happen next, be Facebook friends with Tara Lee Grigas.
The more I watch this guy, the more I like him.
Oh, yeah.
He's not, nobody's perfect, but in a way, he's like, this will probably rouse some feathers, but in a way, he's kind of like George Bush W.
Mm-hmm.
W, if he said something, that was it.
Right.
You may not like it, but that was it.
He was going to do it.
He was going to do it. There was no question about it. Mm-hmm. And Trump is the same way. People go, he's brash. He is. He is
mm-hmm.
brash.
No.
But he does exactly what he says he's going to do.
Yeah.
And I'd much rather have a president who tells me what he's going to do, and then I just learn to accept it, than have him tell you something different, and knowing full well.
Right, or like with Obama, and his whole entire administration, it seemed like every news cycle, something's happening. They're like, there's an earthquake, there's there's something going on over here, but really this is just distracting you from what he's actually doing over here. Like, don't look at this, look at this.
Yeah.
And so
he was good at that.
Right. I mean, his whole structure, Valerie Jarrett and all of his little minions, that was their game. That was what they did all the time. If there was something bad coming up in the news cycle, they would be like, okay, we got to find something else. We got to manufacture this.
Exactly.
We got to prop it up. We got to hand it to the media wrapped with a nice bow so that they'll cover this instead of this, because
Bob,
we don't want them to cover this.
We got an earthquake anywhere?
Yeah.
Can we start one someplace?
Is there like conflict in Syria that we can cover? Or, can we show some like kids hit with bombs or something? Because that's gonna dominate
take the pressure
news
off.
cycle.
They also like the Friday night stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, everybody goes home and they pass it. Yeah.
Right.
So actually, we're going to talk a little bit about sanctuary schools. I don't think I was actually aware of sanctuary schools. I was sanctuary cities, but there is a guy who. There's 11 sanctuary schools in California, big surprise, that are known to be safe haven for illegal immigrants. And there's a guy who's saying, you know what, we should either stop providing aid and comfort to these people, or we should literally prosecute them for sedition. I mean, I was saying that about sedition months ago.
Soros, yeah.
Yeah, about Soros. Why aren't we going after him? It's David Horowitz of Freedom Center, and I think he's got a good point. There are not, this really shocked me. You know how many, I don't know if you had time to read this. You know how many sanctuary cities there are now in the United States?
Well, this says there's over 500.
Over 500 cities.
I've been reading stuff in the National Association of Counties news thing that they put out, and they talk about sanctuary cities and sanctuary counties as well, that there's entire counties that, have just basically said, we're not enforcing this. We're not helping the federal government enforce this.
I don't understand what they don't get. These are the people that are killing people, raping.
Yeah.
There's some terrorists in these places.
Oh, yeah.
What are they not wrapping their brain around?
Well, I mean, to me, and I've said this before, it cuts both ways. I mean, they're saying we're not going to help the federal government enforce federal immigration laws, but the federal government doesn't help local people, local law enforcement, enforce immigration laws either.
No,
so
that's true.
So that knife cuts both ways. So I mean, and I don't know if I've told it on the told the story on the show, but when I was a police officer, we pulled over a couple of illegals, probably illegals, in a car. They were breaking some traffic law, and wrote them a couple of tickets. And my field training officer was like, "We're never going to see them again. They're illegal."
Oh, yeah.
They produced a driver's license, but he said it's probably fake.
Well, and I know I've told the story about I was working truck scales for the county, and I pulled over this pickup truck that was stuffed piled like 20 feet in the air, just brushing. And this it's a standard front and back seat pickup truck, and there were like 6 or 8 guys in here. Mm-hmm. And when I pulled them over, all 4 doors popped open, and they go running in every direction. To go in every direction possible. And I nabbed the driver, who had no documentation whatsoever. And I brought him back to the scale, and the guy who was in charge of the scales, the deputy in charge of it, called it in, and they didn't want him.
Yeah.
They said, let him go.
Yeah.
He's an illegal.
Right. That's what I asked. I asked my FTO. I said, why don't we call somebody to come pick him up? No, they won't.
Now, apparently that's changing under Obama.
I mean,
from what I seem to gather,
Trump.
I'm sorry. Oh, my God. Oh, I need an aspirin. I can't even believe I said that. Obama. Yeah. It's changing under Trump. I understand that they are beginning to.
Well, I hope so. I mean, I know it takes a lot of resources, but I mean, that's the idea, is especially if they're criminals. I mean, above and beyond the crime of coming here illegally. But, if they're going to be like raping, murdering, and pillaging, we need to get them out of here.
You go to Facebook and you read about these, and they always have an example. Here's whoever. I don't want to get racist, but here's whoever with, he's been working, he's got a family, he's got children in school, he's been a good citizen.
He leads a quiet life. He's pays
still
taxes.
Illegal.
Yeah.
The comment I made was, okay, so what you're telling me, he'd been in the country like 10 years or something.
Sure.
I said, so what you're saying is, it's okay if I commit a crime as long as I can get away with it long enough.
Right.
If you're illegal, you're illegal.
And my question, often is, or would be, if I had a chance to ask anyone, is, has this person done anything to take steps to not be illegal?
Well, see, that's it. There is an
have they
avenue.
applied? Have they actually applied for citizenship? Have they actually tried to go through the channels?
Right.
And be here, either get a green card or become a citizen? Whatever that is. Because I know people who came here legally, and they fought and fought. I mean, I have a friend who came from Canada, and he fought and fought and fought. It took him years to become a citizen,
right.
But that was what he wanted, and he worked for it.
What Trump is doing is he's taking money away, no federal funds for sanctuary cities.
Yes.
So that's a step in the right direction.
Yes.
All right, when we come back, we've got Gretchen's going to do her thing with whatever is up this week. And we're going to talk a little bit about T-Rex, my new favorite name, T-Rex. All that and a little bit more when we return with On Target Radio.
Safer USA, Chicago's most trusted name in firearm training, is offering beginners classes, tactical pistol and rifle, long-range rifle to 600 yards, and the most comprehensive Illinois concealed carry program available. The On Target Radio co-hosts David Lombardo and Gretchen Fritz will prepare you to carry a firearm for personal protection, including firearm, holster, and ammunition selection. A comprehensive law review designed to keep you out of trouble and even how to deal with home invasions. Firearm, ammunition, holster, class notebook, and lunch are provided. Safer USA and the Aurora Sportsman's Club invites you to participate in this one-of-a-kind Illinois concealed carry program that also qualifies you for Florida, Utah, and Arizona non-resident permits. Find out what over 6,000 students already know at saferusa.com.
Or call 815-741-3474. That's 815-741-3474. Safer USA. Choosing to own a firearm is your business. Teaching you to own it responsibly is ours.
In need of a ride to O'Hare or Midway Airport? Well, look no further. The Yellow Checker Cab Company is the cab company for you. With the Yellow Checker Cab Company, you will always be greeted by a friendly face and arrive safely and on time for your flight. Start your trip off right by taking advantage of one of their limos, shuttle vans, cabs, or courtesy cars. And airport trips are not all they specialize in. This 24-hour cab service will pick you up anytime, any day, for any occasion. From bachelorette parties to school dances to just a night out with friends. Yellow Checker Cab Company has the best rates in town. So sit back, relax, and leave the driving to the professionals. Once you experience their fast and affordable cab service, you'll be a customer for life. When it comes to cab companies, be sure to choose Yellow Checker Cab because you have the right to expect certain things from your cab company. For further information or to book your trip today, call 815-744-2900. That's 815-744-2900.
You're listening to On Target Radio with David Lombardo and Gretchen Fritz. Here's David and Gretchen with more interesting conversation on gun control, concealed carry, freedom of speech, and other red meat issues that affect your life. Stand by. Here's Gretchen with your action items for the week.
Don't forget, Illinois Gun Owners Lobby Day is Wednesday, April 5th in Springfield. Meet at 11:30 a.m. at the Prairie Capitol Convention Center in downtown Springfield. I put a link to the flyer on Facebook last week. The following Safer USA classes are at our facility in Waterman. Saturday and Sunday, April 1st and 2nd, and April 8th and 9th. Illinois Concealed Carry 1. This 16-hour class will be taught by David and Gretchen and meets the training requirements for Illinois Concealed Carry as well as Florida, Arizona, and Utah. Thursday and Friday, April 13th and 14th, NRA Shotgun Instructor taught by David. Saturday and Sunday, April 22nd and 23rd, NRA Pistol Instructor taught by David. Saturday, April 29th, Tactical Pistol 1 and 2 taught by David. To sign up for classes, go to saferusa.com and click on register.
That was certainly quick.
Yep.
Well, there you go. I got a new favorite name.
Yeah.
Particularly because he may be my new favorite person. T-Rex. T-Rex is Rex Tillerson, who is our new Secretary of State.
Yep.
And he did something just totally outrageous and over the top.
OMG.
OMG, that's right. There has been a rich, and I use that word very specifically,
literally,
tradition, which goes back on both sides of the aisle. Republican presidents and Democratic presidents always take the biggest piece of iron they can buy or lease, right?
Air Force 3 usually.
Exactly. And it's, like 3,000 seats, and they got wet bars and pole dancers.
It's like
and
737 or something.
And the whole press corps gets a free ride to wherever they want to go, to follow whoever.
Wherever he's going.
Wherever he's going. He goes, we're going to cut back. We're going to save on money. And he takes one person.
He's like, I'm going to take a little plane.
That's right. And the press
He says,
goes
I'm not going
wild.
to take Air Force 3. Yeah.
They go berserk.
They are losing their bleep.
He just doesn't accept
And he
the fact
just
that they're
doesn't
privileged.
care.
He doesn't care.
He just
That's
doesn't give a rat's ass.
And so the publications had to get them there somehow and sent them first class commercial. And they're complaining.
Yeah.
I was a journalist for good company. I like the company. I'm not going to complain against the company. But the only way I would have been first class is if Coach was on fire. and they would have thrown my smoking body up front because they didn't want to feed the fire. There was no way they were ever going to send me, and I did 1.7 million miles for them, airline miles. I was on an airplane all the time, covering stories in Asia and Middle East and stuff. And there's the only way I ever got first class is literally, I had so many frequent flyer miles that if the back was so oversold and there was an empty seat in first, they'd put me up front for that.
The airlines themselves would pull you up.
But certainly not the company. In fact, I happen to know that the person who was in charge of travel for our company asked if you could box people and put them in cargo. We could drill holes, it'd be give them a little bowl, a bottle of water. Why not? So these people with that arrogant attitude that they have are just incensed that the government wouldn't put them on an airplane together and they could get, God knows what they served them on the airplane because, the government never does anything cheap when they do something like that. And they're complaining about first class. I can't even imagine. I am sure that when they go on other assignments, no one's sending them first class. That's not happening.
Yeah.
So it's that's T-Rex. And I look for big things in this administration. I really do. I look for big things. And I think Mr. Tillerson may be one of them. Very practical. It's interesting that the guy that they did take, it was a woman actually, it wasn't a guy, came from a very conservative online type thing.
Independent Journal Review.
Yeah. So once again, this administration does not suffer fools, and CNN and these outfits that just make stuff up, they're not getting anything. So I don't know. I'm all for it. I don't have a problem with that. You have a pithy look on your face.
No, I'm just trying to see if there's any more good nuggets in here.
Any more good nuggets?
Since we have like 9 minutes to fill.
Well, and there's that.
Just looking out for you. Just trying to save your bacon.
This is the internet. We just cut it right here, right? You just go out drinking.
Speaking of bacon.
Bacon.
So that event we went to.
Segue to last night.
Yeah. That event we went to last night, I was telling somebody about it, and I said, there were no Muslims there.
That's probably true.
And I said, I know, because there was a lot of bacon.
A lot of bacon.
And there were some other pork products, too, but bacon was prominent on the menu.
I bet they raised a lot of money, too.
Yeah, Reagan said that they were wanting to raise like $100,000. I think in the past they did like $75,000.
It was $40 a pop.
And it was $75 for couples, I think.
And $75, yeah, right.
Yeah.
And there were a lot of people.
They said they were expecting about 800.
Yeah. So I expect they did well.
Yeah, they probably did all right. And then they also had silent auction and on top of that. But yeah, we went to the Men Who Cook fundraiser, which is for the Will County State's Attorney's Child Advocacy Center.
Yeah, Glasgow organizes it.
Yeah, well, his people.
Well, yeah, yeah, exactly.
A committee and his people.
Yeah.
But it was a good event, and
it's sort of like Old Homes Week because
oh my gosh, I saw so many people.
Yeah, we run into people all the time.
I ran into our UPS driver from Edward Jones.
Right. I remember that. Yeah, I told you about the time my FedEx guy.
Now we're really filling time.
My FedEx guy, who really is a good guy. I get a lot of FedEx. I saw him someplace, and he was with his wife, and he came up to me and. I'm usually in a bathrobe, right, when he arrives.
Which I'm sure he loves.
I don't doubt that. And he said, "Hi, how you doing?" And I knew him. It was one of those deals. I know the guy.
Yeah.
And I look funny, and he goes, "I'm the FedEx guy," and he goes, "I didn't recognize you without your clothes," which his wife, I don't think quite.
Now, see, he should have said to you, "I didn't recognize you with your clothes."
And that really would have ended his marriage.
That
right
would have
on
been the perfect punchline. The Almighty would have sounded a rim shot. It would have been perfect.
Yeah. As long as we got 5 minutes and 26 seconds, we're going to go take a look at some space. So we may be looking seriously at trying to find some sponsors because I don't know. We'll have to go look at the space. It's kind of small, but it's better than my dining room table.
You'd like your dining room back.
I would.
Which is completely understandable.
I would.
I made a noise, and
Were
everybody.
you about to say something?
We thought you wanted to speak.
No.
Everybody turns and looks at him. You hear this? Everybody just turns around and looks like, I didn't know if it was indigestion or what. I couldn't tell.
I thought it was the start of a word. So.
It's possible. You never know. Diogenes. It could have been the start of Diogenes. Yeah. Here's the thing. You remember when we changed the format and you came on, we sat around a table with the general manager and Mike Sakoff and the program manager at WIND, and I said, we can't ever compete with the big names, right? Mm-hmm. So what we were going to do is we were going to be like the people next door, just chatting, just talking. Right. And a lot of people have come. That's right. Just hit the mic. Talk about unprofessional. Let me hit the mic. And a lot of people over the years have commented about how they like that. It's just chatty. Okay, well, here it is. This is the chatty part. We're just chatting now.
That's right. When you have to fill time, you have to think of something to say.
Got to fill white space.
Luckily, we're constantly thinking of something to say.
Something, yeah. I remember at Second City, they said if you don't know what to say, trip, and something will occur to you on the way down.
On the way down.
Yeah, and it could be profanity because it was Second City. They didn't care.
Right.
Yeah, we don't.
And you've told me you don't want profanity.
No, this should be a family show. Certainly a dysfunctional family, but a family show.
Right. Yeah.
And you never know. Maybe Alan will speak someday. Yeah,
maybe
it's possible.
Maybe.
Well, there you go.
There you go.
Someday is
you got a maybe out of him. Yeah. But I don't know. Give us a call if you have any thoughts. We got a few minutes left. 815-205-1584, and tell us how much you love us, or we should get off the air.
Talk about T-Rex or
talk about T-Rex. Yeah, we're just
Nancy Pelosi.
Oh God,
choppy hands make Botox.
Don't do.
Well,
Nancy
our
Pelosi.
listeners, our watchers,
they
enough. Probably have some funny things to say about choppy hands make Botox.
I don't get the choppy hands part.
Like when she talks, like.
Oh yeah, right. I wasn't even thinking about that way.
Barbie-like arm movement.
She does do that, doesn't she? My favorite clip of her is about Donald Trump won't be elected.
Oh, love it.
Donald Trump.
Love. It's it's over 6 minutes long. It's so worth it.
Yeah, and she basically gets one sentence out in 6 minutes. Yeah.
Oh no, it's not just her. It's George Clooney
that whole thing.
And Rachel Maddow. It's all of them. It's just so good.
We've put it up on our website before. It is a classic piece of work.
We'll have to post it again.
It's the beautiful.
Oh, and Eric said he hasn't seen the one that somebody put together, which is like 3 minutes or something of Joe Biden inappropriately touching people.
Oh, that's an old one.
Yeah.
That's an old one.
You haven't seen that? No.
See, I was saying I'm going to have to pull that up.
It's freaky.
I'll put it on our Facebook page for everyone to enjoy.
Every time I've watched it, I felt like I had to take a shower.
Oh, I know. It's like
creepy.
It's funny, but it's like gross at the same time.
It really
it's like
is.
Like
and then there's like a little girl too.
Oh, like there's a couple.
Yeah.
There's more than one little girl.
It is. It's.
And doesn't he have people that tell him that that's inappropriate?
He's fondling them too. He fondles them too.
Apparently not.
Yeah.
I mean, or it could be like the people telling Trump to stop tweeting. They tell him and he goes yeah, and then he immediately just goes back to what he's doing.
Right.
You remember the left made such a big deal because George Bush with Merkel, they had some big conference and had been dragging on, and he just kind of touched her shoulders. You remember that?
No.
I remember something about that.
You remember that?
Something, yeah, I remember that.
Yeah.
Shoulder touching.
The left inappropriate touching. Biden gropes people.
Oh, yeah.
Literally.
Yeah, no,
They've got him on camera.
It's like nasty.
Oh, yeah. He's just putting his arms around and touching them.
He's like giving women massages who don't want them. Like married women and their husband is like talking at the podium. It's like, for the love of God, man. Yeah. I mean,
unbelievable.
It's so bad. But yeah, I'll find the video. I'll post it.
Yeah, and just remember, don't buy a regular gun, buy a shotgun and shoot it out the window.
That's right. Just take your 12 gauge and do a couple blasts off the patio. That'll work out fine. That's perfectly legal.
Biden, it would be funny. This naturally now somebody calls Raymond. We got 23 seconds left.
No seconds.
Okay, we can't take you now. You should have called a half an hour ago.
We begged, so
we got to educate people.
We should read the thing.
Okay, we could read the thing. You want to read the thing? We'll read the thing. Here we go.
Don't you think?
Yeah.
I have 8:59.
It's that time. We'd like to thank you for taking the time to listen tonight, and we'd appreciate it if you tell your friends about On Target Radio.
We'd also like to thank our engineer and announcer, Eric Allen, and our sponsors, Yellow Checker of Joliet, My Editor Creative Business Services, the Will County Grassroots Division of the ISRA, the Illinois State Rifle Association, the Aurora Sportsman's Club, and Safer USA.
And finally, we hope that you'll listen next week when we'll be covering more red meat issues that affect your life. And call earlier.